Hello, Lefty Reed here. Um, we left off with the last statement I will read so you can remember. Hence, the practice of attending to soul through attending to images, imagination, experience, and effective life is the heartbeat of imaginal psychology, is the strawberry heartbeat of imaginal psychology. Soul does not belong exclusively to the human individual or human world, but is a more encompassing fabric in which the sacred web of life is held. Everybody's soul is connected in a fabric manner within the color spectrum. And our thoughts are the branches of this fabric. The soul and affective life. The affective life are things that affect us every day, things that happen, and the way we react to these things. Given the soul's passionate nature, imaginal psychology places emphasis on affective life. Imaginal psychology partakes of a natural relationship to affect theory. In turn, affect theory lends a scientific, biological basis to the concerns of imaginal psychology. Donald Nathanson, one affect theorist in a now wide literature on the affects and emotions, writes, despite our view on ourselves as thinking beings, cognition is but a frail craft floating on a sea of emotion. Affective, affected. Our thoughts are negative, so they affect other people's thoughts. When I'm around people that are in bad moods, I know it. I can feel your emotions, colored energy. I know that you're just in a bad mood. I know that them colors that you're exerting throughout or from your emotions are the cool colors. There are no warm colors around you when you are in a bad mood. And I feel that. So when I feel that you're in a bad mood, I'm in a bad mood. And it's a domino effect that affects everybody around you that's in the area. Some people don't stay. Some people leave. Some people try to talk to you about why you're feeling this way. And most likely when you talk to people about their problems, 95% of the time, the only thing that's going to help them is a change in their environment and a change in one of the 8 dimensions of wellness or time itself. I don't know if I can find the 8 dimensions of wellness fast enough. I'm going to look. Not sure where I put them. I wasn't ready for this. This is all freestyling. I'm freestyling these thoughts. And there they are. So, some problems mentally are situational. It's not biological at all. My problem that causes my anxiety is that I sleep alone. I want nothing more on planet Earth than to have a woman to sleep next to that I'm attracted to for the rest of my life. And I'm getting less attractive the older I get. And that scares me because I want to have a little bit of attraction between me and my wife before we get old and ugly. Everybody gets old and ugly. It's nothing personal. It's just the way I feel. Like if I want, I just want to be attracted to somebody for a while. I'm only 35. So we've got environmental. My environmental wellness is okay. It's checked off because I have a house. It's a 2-bedroom house. It's not finished with my remodeling I'm doing, but it's done. So my environmental's fine. Well, I wouldn't even say it's fine because my environmental's comfortable. My environmental could be better if I lived in a better state where people were more open to my ideas and just who I am. but I live in Nebraska, and everybody worries about money here. The emotional part of my wellness is probably it's a half. I can take care of my emotions. I just can't take care of my feminine emotions because I need a female to opposize my feminine emotions when she gets out of control, like when my feminine emotion character. I can't deal with it. Like, I don't know what to do, lady. Like, I don't have a woman around to help me help you. So my emotions are at a half because I'm alone. I'm not one of those people that want to be alone. I honestly think deep down, nobody wants to be alone. My financial, that's not even checked. I make $15,000 a year. I live in poverty and I'm doing all this stuff for free. My social, that's not checked. I don't have anybody on planet Earth that I can rely on. I have to beg for attention. I have to contact over for attention. Contact for attention. Contact for attention. Why? Because I don't live in Asia? I don't know. My spiritual. My spiritual is fully checked. I understand I can't see my ears and eyes. That's why my heart is like a sweet and bright strawberry, and I can take a drink of water and blow it out my nose. My spirituality is fine. I'm done closed-eyed meditating, and I meditate with my eyes open by putting my right foot on my inner left thigh and just sit there and build up the energy from the strawberry on my foot. So if you're going to use your left foot to meditate, you're going to end up getting rainbow energy or sand or just yellow energy. The bear, you're going to be talking to a bear. I talk to strawberries, you talk to bears. That's the difference between left eye dominance and right eye dominance, meditation, talking patterns on a spiritual level. Occupational. I didn't even have a job. Like, I'm on disability because I was misdiagnosed for 34 years of my life and ended up being locked up in mental institutions from the age of 18 to last year because they thought I was schizophrenic and bipolar because of the way I spoke. Come to find out, after going to college and doing my own research, I found out that I needed to go to an eye doctor to get extensive testing on my eyes. And I ended up finding out that I had a rare eye disease called dissociative vertical deviance that caused my left eye to have a blind spot in it, which caused slight hallucinations. So I had hallucinated for 34 years of my life, and it got worse with puberty. It got worse throughout my life. But I've had the surgery in November of 2017, and I no longer hallucinate. But the memories of all those hallucinations from 34 years are still heavy on my mind, and I remember them all. I just don't currently see them anymore or feel them. A lot of them were tactile hallucinations, and I used to feel a lot of things that weren't there that had images with them. And I smelt things that, like, all my senses were hallucinating, period. I've had dreams where I thought a tree knocked me off my bed and I literally was laying on my bed. And next thing I know, I get knocked off my bed and I turn around and there's not a single person in the room. So I've had a hallucination from all of my senses at least once during this time before my eye surgery. Now, physical wellness. I have arthritis in my spine. I've taken emotion suppressing drugs from the age of 18 to currently I'm on anxiety medication because my neurons are overactive because I can't produce enough GABA by myself inside my neurons to calm down enough to sleep. I think marijuana might help that, but it might not. Depends on what kind of marijuana it is. I don't think the sativa would work. Sativa is the goofy stuff. Indica is the more mellow. But as high potency as they make THC levels in marijuana nowadays, I don't want I don't want a high content of THC. I want the content of THC levels that they had in the 90s that was just mellow and it was all chocolate. That's what I wanted. That's what I want to see if that's going to help my anxiety and the arthritis in my pain, my myophagia, and my radiculopathy that I have constructed from being a construction worker and working my butt off for 7 years as a lead man. So my physical is not very good. I'm learning how to start eating foods that make my brain feel good. I don't like a lot of meat. I like fish. Fish makes my brain feel good. I like a lot of vegetables, green beans. Horseradish feels really wonderful if you take a bite of horseradish that's not really spicy. Like plain horseradish, just take a bite before bed. It actually helps. And I've noticed that if you eat and then smoke right away, the dopamine created by smoking actually gets rid of a lot of the nutrients that your brain's trying to absorb from what vitamins and stuff you ate from the food you did. So it's not really that great to smoke after you eat because you're releasing and pretty much getting rid of all the nutrients or some of them that you have just tried putting into your brain to get the neurons to fire correctly. The intellectual, that's the check. I'm a genius. I know everything there is to know about psychology. Beyond that, I don't know much. I don't know how to have a relationship. I've never had a close emotional relationship with a single person in my life. Like Albert Einstein said, I'm an emotional failure. But at least Albert Einstein got married a couple times. I was married once because I was misdiagnosed. I ended up turning into an alcoholic because I found out alcohol drowned my thoughts out because I didn't know what was wrong. I just knew something was wrong and they weren't right. And I knew if I drank enough, I didn't have to think about the fact that they were wrong and no one knew what was really wrong. And so those are the 8 dimensions of my wellness. So to categorize them, and I'll go a little slow and pause so you can write them down. Environmental, emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, and intellectual. This sea of emotion, our affective life, can be differentiated into 9 biological affects, which have been observed cross-culturally and documented by Sylvan Tompkins as having a physiological, biochemical, and neurological basis of the programming of the human species. These 9 biological affects may be subdivided into the positive effects of interest, excitement, and enjoyment, joy, the neutral or reset button effect of surprise, startle, and the 6 negative affects of fear, terror, distress, anguish, anger, rage, dismay, disgust, and shame. Yeah, I said and shame, humiliation. Each affect may be regarded as a pattern of expression, a specific package of information triggered in response to a particular type of stimulus. I never feel like I hung up the telephone after talking. Let me pause because I'm trying to find these 9 things. So if we've got on a physiological level and a biochemical level and a neurological basis in the programming of us human species, these 9 biological affects may be subdivided into the positive affects of interest, excitement, and enjoyment, joy. So, what happens when you're interested in something and it excites you? I'm interested in Bobby. She excites me. But on a neurological basis, that's all it is. on a biochemical basis, that's what it is too. But on a physiological level, nothing's happened. There's no proof that she excites me. I think she excites me, but until she actually until she lets herself excite me by cuddling or something, it's not true. It's all a one-sided conversation within me and my hormones and my essence. The neutral or reset button affect of surprise startle. So I get surprised because I got started on fire on Christmas, literally last year, 2017. I was over there making a YouTube video and shortly shut it off. And shortly after, a grease fire started in my grease. And it went poof. And it startled me. Well, it was a surprise and it startled me because I have to do something about this right now. So, like on a physiological level, well, we're not gonna get to that part yet. On a neurological basis level, my first instinct was to cover it. Let's turn the water on and cover it. And then, some biochemical reactions kind of started in my brain, and then my neurological basis reminded me that no, you do not put water on a grease fire. So I didn't. So the next panic attack that I had no other choice because it was getting really close to starting some of my house on fire. I picked up some pot holders, carried it outside into the snow, but slipped on the way and got the fire grease on my left foot and both my hands. And I had to roll around in the snow to get taken off fire, to be put out. And this was Christmas. That was my Christmas present. I spent it alone. Well, I went to the emergency room, but yeah. But so the physiological level of that was I got burnt. I got burnt because of the startle surprise affect of that. Like the neutral or reset button effect, like this was a neutral effect because this wasn't anything got reset. This was, whoa, like I had to figure out how to reset it to get rid of it so it didn't cause a fire. But the initial part of it was I was in a neutral state of consciousness where I saw nothing but surprised from startled. And then these negative effects happened. I had fear that my house was going to start on fire. Fear, terror, fear, terror, fear, terror. Fear is a little bit slighter degree of terror. Terror is something as my house is on fire. The fear was I feared that it could happen. The distress and anguish. The distress was it was Christmas. I was home alone. Nobody was there to guide me and help me. I was so discombobulated from like what had happened that I didn't know what to do right away, and I panicked and reacted improperly. The anger and rage didn't start until I fell. I fell in the middle of my doorway over there, slipped on some snow, and luckily the fire grease went onto a trash bag on the right-hand side of the outside door instead of to the left where there was about 30 pounds of insulation that if the fire would have went on there, my house would be gone and I would not be talking to you right now. So I got angry and I was enraged because of the anger and the rage, I was able to pick up the pan while I was on fire, finish dumping it in the snow, and roll around to put myself out because the pain was so high that the fight or flight response and the neuroepinephrine in my adrenal glands kicked up so high that I just never minded the pain because like we had to get off fire. We had to save the house. I didn't care if I got hurt. We had to save the house. The dismel? I don't know what that means. There was no, if that means disbelief, I'm going to just exchange that with disbelief. Like there was no disbelief what was going on. Like I knew what was going on. I just can't believe it wasn't on YouTube still because like If I would have waited 5 minutes, that fire would have been on YouTube, and then you would have actually been able to see me start myself on fire and go roll around in the snow. So that was more a little bit of that. The disgust and shame, humiliation of it was, well, it's Christmas. 35 years old, divorced, haven't seen my kids in years. And I started myself on fire trying to cook myself for dinner some jalapeno poppers in a pan full of some vegetable oil and ended up in the emergency room. That was the shame, humiliation. I'm 35 years old. I should already be married still. I'm behind on life. That's the shame of this. I'm behind on life. Each affect may be regarded as the pattern of expression, a specific package of information triggered in response to a particular type of stimulus. We went over that. The train of thought of what happened in the packages that I got, each one of those packages happened. One package shows up, I do something about it. The package of the water, I was like, no, no water, please. Shut the water off, do something else. Now, the package of putting it, covering it, like that would have been the greatest package I could have gotten at that point in my brain as a mental image was cover the grease fire with the lid. Would have went out. But I never got that message. Like, didn't get that package, sorry. In order to understand the role of affect and emotion in the programming of human beings, Nathanson uses the analogy of hardware, firmware, the pre-written instructions found on chips, and software. In this analogy, the physical body with its muscular skeletal structure, organs, nervous system, and biochemistry forms the hardware. The human genetic code that guides human development and metabolism is the firmware program, written permanently into our biological structure. Environmental influencers are the software. The drives and the affects are part of the firmware system, while the intricate melody of experiences, the software of human life. Oh, while the intricate medley of experiences form the software of human life. So my experiences that I have in my life form the environment to influence some of the things. And the things in the environment that influence me are caused by what I do. I move into a new town, they start judging me by my facial expressions and the way my energy feels to them. Well, they're not used to feeling somebody that has practiced Buddhism for 18 years of his life. So they find me strange. They think that I smell bad, so to say. But it's just that they're so far away from meditation because every day you don't meditate, you get farther and farther away from your heart. That's the corner. The corner of life is your strawberry heart. You don't meditate for a day, you get farther away from it. And most of these people have never meditated, so they've never been there. So they think me as some sort of like, I don't know, he's a little creepy. And I've been told that. I didn't know about you when I first met you. I don't want to give that expression to people. I don't want my environment to show me that I am giving off bad vibes when I always tell the truth so I don't have to remember anything. I don't go out of my way to get things that I want in a greedy manner. And all I want is somebody to sleep next to. I give things away because I don't want to sell them. I just give them away. I don't need this anymore. Here, you want it, take it, get it away. It's just junk laying around my house. I do stuff for free for people all the time. I go out of my way to help people with nothing in return. But they don't know that when they see me. They see a guy with a bunch of tattoos, carries himself the way he does, and just don't realize that I've met Buddha. What's Buddha? A big fat gold man. Which all he was the first man who meditated. No one claimed he was the God or the creator of the universe. He was the first man that sat in the lotus position and reached closed-eyed meditation enlightenment. That's all he was. Literally, when you reach closed-eyed meditation, you feel like you're inside of a gold man, just like Buddha looks like. But when the point comes that you see your feet are mirrors and you're just looking at your own reflection, there's no more reason to go there, and you have reached nirvana, or the highest spiritual state that you could possibly be. So therefore, you're stuck following the yellow brick road by meditating with your eyes open. But it was quite a journey for 18 years talking to Buddha. Our genetic code that guides human development. It's not a genetic code. Sins guide human development. I still believe we have 7 different personalities, everybody. Why? Because there are 7 different sins. Look them up. Each sin we create makes us behave in a different manner. And it could be a positive way we act. We could be positively acting out that sin or negatively acting out that sin, depending on the situation and thought processings and reasons behind why you're doing those things. Just because you're doing something sinful to benefit one other person doesn't mean it's not going to hurt somebody else. So there are 7 different personalities that we all have. Now, yeah, with the hardware, which is pretty much the anatomy of our body, what we put in our digestive tract and on our skin, what we breathe, what we smell, taste, see, touch, hear, anything that touches our essence goes into forming how our structure and hormones work. If you're not eating anything but McDonald's every day, you're not going to feel very happy. Most likely. Because if you do, that's still expensive. You got to take care of the way we eat, but here's the problem. I don't have enough money to properly feed myself. I can buy canned vegetables and canned fruit and live off that with some potatoes and butters and water. That's about it. That would probably be the best way at a $15,000 year income that I could actually feed myself the best nutrient wise. I still don't believe I need 3 full course meals. I honestly don't believe in eating any meat but like fish for sure. I don't like beef. I will try not to eat beef. You know why? If cows poop a mushroom that makes you hallucinate, I don't think I want to eat the meat of that animal. Second of all, cow, beef, hamburger. Why are we calling the same animal 3 different names of food? You've got a pig and you got pork. I don't mind eating pig, but pig, pork. But if you want to talk about don't eat the pig, maybe that was a metaphor for don't swallow and then blow air out your nose. Or don't take a drink of that water and try to blow that water out your nose. You're eating a pig. That might have been the metaphor that we have all been speaking about and not quite understanding. I like pork. It tastes good. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel better, like the actual meat. I'm not a big fan of turkey. I'll eat it. It just doesn't make my neurons feel right. They don't fire correctly. I don't mind chicken, but if I had my way and could afford it, I would only eat fish or aquatic life because I don't feel aquatic life or animals. I don't feel fish have dreams. Therefore, they're not meat. All they are free-flowing spores that live in the ocean. But I could be wrong. See, the human genetic code that guides human development and metabolism and the firmware program written permanently into our biological structure, nothing is permanent but death. So I find that hard to believe that my biological structure is permanent. Like, no, it's not. Change. I just told you I can't see my ears and eyes because my heart is like a sweet and bright strawberry, so I'm going to take a drink of this water and try to blow it out my nose. Change your mind. Do what makes you feel good. I mean, do what makes your body feel good. Don't do what makes your genitalia feel good. Just because your pelvic feels good doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Just because your eyes are being made to feel good because of something doesn't mean that it was meant to be that it makes your brain feel good. Just because you're committing one of the 7 sins and if you think it makes your one of your senses feel good, like no, does it make your brain feel good? Probably not all that much. You're just able to ignore it. So creating a sin helps one of our senses feel good, but it's only temporary because eventually it comes back and reminds us that my brain doesn't like the way that played out. The terms affect and emotion are used with distinct meaning among affect theorists. While the affects are about unvarying physiological mechanisms, emotion relates to a situation, a scene, script, or story in which a biological affect is triggered. Noticeable coincidence. When I remember a stop sign, I remember one of my girlfriends slamming on her brakes and kissing me to get me shut up because I was complaining about the human race and how much they acted like Helen Keller. We're stuck in their phones because, like, psychology changed when we started carrying lighted screens in front of our face as cell phones. Period. That's why I call it digital environmental communication, which needs to be a textbook written for college, but I can't do it by myself. I just have the platform written. Affect refers to the physiological portion of emotion. Emotion refers to the layering of affect with the biographical scripts. Emotions layer on. Like, if your neurons are firing faster and you have, like, that means you're having more thoughts. And if you've got so many noticeable coincidences that so many, like, let's say half of the stuff in your house reminds you of your ex-boyfriend. So you're in your house sitting down doing something, maybe cleaning, and everywhere you turn, you see something that reminds you of him, and it brings up a different story, which brings up different emotion or emotions. So they layer and they layer. And then your neurons kick on other neurons to fire to try to remember from the hippocampus about this memory and that memory and that memory. And somehow, with the radio blaring, you can actually never mind those emotions, but deep down in your subconscious, you can still feel the effects of those emotions that you're being reminded of because you have too many material objects in your house that remind you of your ex-boyfriend. Effects become emotions as they are loaded up with scripts formed through actual life experiences. Thus, while our emotional response is derived from the programming of the innate biological affects, they develop their unique nuance and personal character based on scripts developed in early life and elaborated through the layering of experiences across the course of a lifetime. So, all these memories have created emotions that are coded into words of feeling, such as ashamed, sad, glad, hurt, mad, guilty, or afraid. So, with those 7 emotions comes into effect, which one of those sins did you commit in order to feel that emotion? And I may be a little off here, a little slanty, but with those emotions, they pile and they pile and they pile and they program us. They actually don't program our thoughts. They program our neurons to fire in the same order every waking moment unless different stimuli from outside sources is around. When I'm around my house, I'm familiar with this place. So my neurons are going to fire in the same correct pattern almost whenever I'm at home or outside by my house or in my car. But when I go over to a new girlfriend's house, or if I go visit my grandma I don't ever talk to, or if I go to a new restaurant, my neurons are going to be firing differently because I'm in an unfamiliar place and my brain is trying to map out, are there anything around me that I remember that make me think of my memories? So if I'm at a place that has no noticeable coincidences, my neurons are going to be at a level harmonic balance because I don't have to remember any of my experiences in the past because everything around me is new information. We download, so to say, information from material objects of memories that are associated with those material objects. That's why I say we have too many material objects on planet Earth. We honestly need to stop producing material objects except for food and clothing until we absolutely have to start again. This couch will last me years if I take care of it. Don't need a new one. Don't care what it looks like. My eyeballs don't care what color the couch is. Neither does my brain. The only thing that cares is my butt cares how comfortable it is. Thus, while our emotional responses derive from a programming of innate biological affects, they develop their unique nuance and personal character based on scripts developed in early life and elaborated through the layering of experiences across the course of a lifetime. Affects are modified by personal history and socialization, by neurons and trauma. I stopped counting my traumatic events at 8. I don't know how many there's been. I don't remember personal history and socialization. Therefore, I don't have very many shared memories with people because I can't remember. I damaged the area between my Wernicke's and my Broca's area when I was 2 years old. Like, I understand that I receive information right here about an inch above my ears in my auditory cortex where it goes to my Wernicke's area where I process how I understood what I read or heard. And then it goes to my Broca's area where I process how I want to relay the information. And then it goes to my frontal lobe or emotional cortex where I pick the words in the order I want to say them. And then it comes out my voice box. I understand that. But because of the break in the system right here between understanding and relaying, I don't know how I think I want to talk most of the time. I talk off the top of my head. I can't talk about past experiences, past conversations. Therefore, I'm not good at small talk and don't gossip and get along like everybody else and am looked at as sociably accepted. Affects are modified by personal history and socialization, by nurturance and trauma. I don't think I've been nurtured very well. Like, I mean, meditation nurtured me a lot, but that was about it. Like, my soul's pretty weak, man. Like, the energy around me, my aura, it's pretty weak. But you know, my shadow, that's my soul. All my energy comes from my shadow. You can't maybe see it very well, but if you're so in tune with the color visual spectrum of frequency waves and vibrations, then you should be able to understand that that's pretty much the box of your soul is between you and your shadow. It's about how far it goes. That's about how far it goes to where other people can feel your aura or your soul, which your soul is an aura. Affect is the physiological arousal that is then interpreted in different ways by different cultures. Yeah, our experiences of how we create emotions from experiences that happen and how we get positively or negatively aroused by them are different from other cultures. And I'm not going to get into that. The affects and affect theory carry a foundational role in Omer's articulation of imaginal psychology. Imaginal transformation praxis. In theory and practice, Omer emphasizes the necessity for the expression of affects. We need to express how life is treating us. It's hard living a negative life and trying to express the events that are happening in my life in a positive manner if there are none. What do you want me to talk about? Like, we all know I don't have a long-term memory, but I can't be positive. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, hey, I got a new microwave today. Like, that conversation is over. Oh, hey, what kind of buttons are on it? Hey, are they colored? Oh, hey, yeah. Does it ding 2 times or 3 times after the radiation's been leaked out so you can open the gate freely without releasing radiation into the air? Oh, how big is the display? Is it a 3-prong? What brand is it? I've never had a conversation like that. Since the effects constellate and carry psychic energy, this psychic energy must go somewhere. My belief on what they mean psychic energy is my emotion or my thoughts create emotions that create warm or cool colors that other people can feel when they're around me to let them know what type of mood I'm in. That's a psychic energy. They call that an empath. I don't care who you are, I'm going to feel your energy around you, and I'm going to know if you're in a good mood or a bad mood, or I'm going to know a lot more than just that. I'm going to know pretty much if, and you know what? No, that's not true. I can't sit there and judge you. I have to talk to you for a while and judge you. I can get the feeling that you're a negative person and a bad person, but I'm not going to do that. It could just be the mood. It could just be what your thought processes are. When people meet me, my brain is full of bad memories. More bad memories are in my brain and my dreams than are positive ones. That's why people think I'm creepy and a bad person, and they're just leery of me. So you shouldn't judge me. Talk to me for a while, get to know me for a while, and then make a judgment after experiences and after situations of trying to meet up to do things and asking favors and stuff like that. Like, you keep ditching me and making plans and not showing up and not doing what you said you were going to do, then I understand that you don't have room in your life to be reliable, respectful, and responsible to me. That's how that works. And there were 3 basic options for where this psychic energy can go. Affects can be enacted, somaticized, or expressed. Enacted, to me, would mean body language, facial expressions. Somaticized or expressed is just talking about it. Or I guess if I don't even know what somaticized means, but if I would have had to guess, I would say that it was like extreme body language, like, you know, I'm angry because I'm beating the crap out of that man or something like that. So personal communication, expression, personal communication. The first option, Omer uses the term reactive enactment, which means to enact the affect outwardly, often referred to as acting out. So acting out is most likely going. I can't talk now. I just wanted to know if you wanted to come over tomorrow. Well, because I got till Sunday before I need help before Sunday, and I don't want to ask a 78-year-old man to hold drywall up, and everybody else around me that I keep asking is just not reliable, and I'm running out of time. So Sunday is when I have to return that drywall lift. So I don't know. Let me know by tonight if you're coming. Otherwise, I'm going to somehow try to figure it out myself and just realize that I'm alone in the universe and nobody is reliable, respectful, and responsible anymore. And I'm stuck in the twilight zone. So just let me know, please. Thanks. Anyways, so for the first option, Omer uses reactive enactment, which means to enact the effect outwardly, often referred to as acting out. To somaticize the effect is to enact them inwardly. Like, I do the inwardly one more. Like, acting out is acting out. You know, I'm punching the wall. I'm throwing stuff. I'm yelling at my dad pretty much because it's been trying to get somebody to come help me for a week now to do something that I can't do by myself. But nobody seems to care enough about what my life needs. So, and then he'll sit there and say, well, I got kids because your sister dropped out for kids and we don't know her. She just took off to Arizona. So we have temporary custody now. And it's like, you know, boo hoo. But like, can I rely upon nobody? 7.2 billion people on this planet and not one human being I can rely on. I can rely on my dog to not poop or pee in my house. I can rely on my cat to cry at night like she's an infant for some reason. I can rely on me, but I can't rely upon somebody to help me when I need it because of the way my memories cause people to feel that I'm evil. I've had more evil things in my life happen than positive. I can't all of a sudden just become a ray of sunshine when nothing in my life makes me happy. I'm comfortable. There's a difference between comfortable and happy. To somaticize the effects is to enact them inwardly. That's when I tell myself that I'm not doing that because I don't deserve to do it. I'm not releasing this video because they don't want to listen anyways. I'm not going to do this because they don't care. It's like giving myself ultimatums. The third option, expression, refers to expression with awareness. Among these basic options, the optimal response is expressed with awareness. For expression with awareness is the linchpin for transmuting the effects for the soul's development into maturity. I'm reaching out to you to help my soul, and I'm telling you flat out that's what I want. Or I'm going to your house and I'm telling you, hey, do you want to go eat dinner? You know I want to date you. It's been 30 days now, and every time I come over, I want to take you out to eat. I try calling you on the phone. I keep telling you that I want to date you, but I will wait and play with your terms and conditions because you want me to work for it to make sure that I'm worth it. And I'm going to put up with it for a little bit longer, but I'm telling you, I need you to help feed my soul energy because that is what the opposite sex does for me. Feeds my soul energy. The kind of energy you can't get from self-love or meditation. The necessity for the expression of the affects is one of the trickiest places for practice within imaginal psychology. While the effects call for and require expression, the irresponsible or uncontained expression of emotion can easily do damage in our relationships. This is probably where visual replacement therapy comes into play, and an example of that is the sun feels like a banana. Or every color I see reminds me of some fruit because I got fruit growing out my ears. And I like that because it makes me feel like I'm loved and living in the Garden of Eden because that was supposed to be heaven. That's an example of visual replacement therapy. There's lots more, but let's not get weird. While the affects call for and require expression, the irresponsible or uncontained expression of emotion can easily do damage in our relationships. There are things in visual replacement therapy that I've copyrighted. By the way, the therapy's been copyrighted, but and it's all over my books. I got 5 books on this web page. You can download all 5 of my books and read all sorts of weird stuff. But you may not need to hear that. Some of it, all of it. Who knows? There are some of my analogies that are biological analogies, pretty much, that some people do not want to hear. And I'm not going to go into the detail because that's not the point of this. That's a later conversation. The old culture recognized that situations that stirred intense emotional responses, such as significant loss, conflict, and major life transitions, puberty, marriage, entranced into profession, death, require a ritualized structure in order to be negotiated psychologically. Talk to yourself. You can't fix an outside problem with an pardon me. You can't fix an inside problem with an outside source. If you've got a very traumatic experience, or you hit puberty, you got married, you entranced into a profession, you had to deal with someone's death or something else bad that causes negative stress, you need to just practice open-eyed meditation until you can figure out how to deal with it. Once a day, all you got to do is what I'm going to show you. It's going to take time. Drugs are quicker. Medications or drugs, they're quicker. But we are not supposed to quickly learn from negative experiences that are traumatic. They change our lives. That's what they do. And when you change your life, you change who you are and how you behave to situations. And when you do that, if you're not going to ask help from your own soul and your own strawberry heart, you can't expect to get maximal energized bioelectromagnetic responses. It won't work. You're going to end up with more negative thoughts that are going to fester and grow into more negative thoughts. And pretty soon, the thoughts that have been growing as branches from the fabric of our souls is going to be so branchy that you won't be able to see your soul anymore. And if you can't see your soul, how do you function? That's an honest question. So, I am right eye dominant. Figure out your eye dominance, but I'm going to put that's my left foot underneath. I'm going to put my right foot on my inner thigh by my pelvic. And I'm going to sit here. And since I've reached enlightenment through closed-eyed meditation, who knows how many times, and you wouldn't believe the things that have happened to me when I reached enlightenment. Like, I wasn't even here. I was taken to a different dimension. And I'll give you one example. The first time I practiced closed-eyed meditation, after about an hour of breathing through my nose without swallowing, I literally felt like I was just a skeleton and everything else was black. That was it. Like, I had no skin. I was just a skeleton inside of a black hole. And it felt that real. So since I've practiced and there's lots of different things that can happen while you're in there. That was just the most strongest one I've ever had because it was the first. So, like, people say you shouldn't breathe through your nose while you're practicing open-eyed meditation. That rule only implies if you haven't actually reached enlightenment through closed-eyed meditation. So since I practiced enough closed-eyed meditation, I can breathe through my nose with while I'm practicing open-eyed meditation. And I'm gonna smoke. I can drink. I got some pop here. So drinking with my right hand, smoking with my left hand while I light it with my right hand. And it's been years since I practiced open-eyed meditation. I just started a few days ago. So it takes time. I mean, you can see the pain in my face just by me talking. If my pain that I've witnessed that you have no idea what it was about scares you, you need to meditate. Yeah. See, it says the old cultures recognized that situations that stirred intense emotional responses, such as significant loss, conflict, and major life transitions, require a ritualized structure in order to be negotiated psychologically. Giving people drugs is not negotiating anything with your soul, it's suppressing your emotions. There ain't no negotiations about how do I deal with this now that this happened. You got to negotiate with yourself. Don't negotiate with Valium. That ain't going to help anything but change your brain chemistry. You need to change the way your thought pattern in your hippocampus memory system is how it works. You need to form new cheese. If someone stole your cheese, you got to find more. You can't keep going and looking for your cheese because somebody took it. They ate it. It's gone. And I'm referencing a book by somebody, and I don't remember the author. I apologize. I don't even know if I have the book around. Someone steals your cheese, you have to find new cheese. And you can only do that by negotiating with your soul, with yourself, by practicing open-eyed meditation. It's not hard to sit like this, is it? Now, I don't know the actual biochemistry, neurology stuff and how this actually works and how I know a little bit, but it works. It changes things. It helps you think better while you're in here. It's like your own counselor that's free inside of your head. You're talking to your dreams pretty much. And you're asking your dreams while you're awake, how do I handle this? Maybe you just meditate for fun because you go with the flow. You're a free spirit. Or maybe you meditate because you're looking for answers. But either way, they both should be doing it. Don't get lost. Don't run away from your dreams. Don't run away from your heart. Don't run away from the seat of your soul. This is the seat of your soul, right there. So there should be no negotiation of where you need to go to get help. The seat of your soul is where you should go. Close-eyed, open-eyed, whatever. Open-eyed is easier to make accusations and assumptions over how your thought pattern should be processed. Imaginal psychology recognizes the necessity of ritualizing, drawing in significant ways upon an ancient, intuitive knowing about the human need for ritual. Ancient ritual practices inform postmodern ritualizing. As a living ritual must serve the needs of the present, as the needs must serve the needs of the present. As a living ritual must serve the needs of the present. So instead of going, okay, this is America. We don't have rituals like other countries, and it's hard to kind of create those things now after so many centuries. But we can all have our own individual ritual. I need to see the doctor. So I'm going to sit in the doctor's chair. Even if people are around me, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to get some help. Or I'm just going to hang out and say hi. That could be a ritual. Just sit down. Just sit like this. And that's an easy ritual because it doesn't involve much energy. You're still sitting down. This could be America's new ritual. This could be our way of dealing with our lack of rules in our language. There's no rules in the American language. We have no formal or informal rules on how we communicate with people. So now we have to make a rule of how we communicate with ourselves. And how do we communicate with ourselves? You sit in the doctor's chair and listen. Don't just listen, hear, understand. However, though necessary to the soul's well-being, it is not sufficient for the soul's development simply to find safe havens and ritual containers for the expression of the affects. The affects carry libido, or psychic energy, that can be developed and channeled in creative ways. It is through this funneling of effective arousal into creative forms that the soul individuates and reaches maturity. This is probably not exemplary, if that's the word, on how we should ritualize the seat of America's soul. Because right now, America doesn't have a seat for our soul. We are all the people on the planet that came here that couldn't figure out how to sit in the corner and talk to our souls. So we have to create our own rituals, individual rituals that maybe only one person practices. Maybe I'll be alone the rest of my life, but I'm going to have to practice my own rituals. Whether it's waking up, taking my morning tea, drinking it, brushing my teeth, getting dressed, my rituals, my daily morning rituals of what I do before I go to work, my daily rituals of what I do at lunch, my daily rituals of what I do when I go shopping, my daily rituals of how, this is the word we have to ask ourselves in this country, how can we create individual or family rituals in America from the seat of our soul that doesn't currently exist? We can't make it a country thing. We have holidays for that. And what do we do on holidays? They're secularized. We secularize psychiatry from religion in America. And that's not good for our soul. When someone is mentally ill, you have to fix their soul first. Show them the path. Follow the path of the yellow brick road. We have to be able to teach our mental patients this. This is not hard. If you're right eye dominant, put your right foot on your inner left thigh by your pelvic. If you're left eye dominant, put your left foot on your right inner thigh by your pelvic. That's the beginning of how we get the seat of our soul buttoned up in this country. And then the rituals are going to have to be done individually. You may live in a town of 50 people, but there's probably going to be 30 different rituals because we have not been taught a ritualistic practice with religion in this country. They say Jesus walked on water. No, he didn't walk on water. Jesus needed glasses. Therefore, because he couldn't get them because they didn't make glasses, it looked like he was underwater because everything was blurry. I have contacts in right now. If I took them out, it would look like I was underwater. For Omer, the four primary negative effects transmute into key human capacities. Grief transmutes into compassion. When we grieve, we start feeling sorry for ourselves. There's the grief pattern of the 5 stages, whatever. And then we start maybe we meet somebody that had the same problem. So we have compassion for them. We have, and I'm not sure if I'm understanding what compassion means, but grief transmutes into compassion, which means, oh yeah, I'm not the only one that dealt with this. Other people have too, and they may have gotten through it. Fear transmutes into courage. When you're afraid of something, somehow we try to give ourselves the courage to get over the fear, whether it's just the fear of trying to let somebody date you, going slowly, really slowly, turtle slowly, because every time you've dated, it ended up badly because he thinks he's black from the waist down. Well, I'm sorry that he never sat at the seat of his soul and talked to it. But this is the chair that you're going to pass through when we all die. This is what it's going to look like. That chair, that area of energy is where you're passing through when everybody dies. And if you've never been there, you're going to die confused. Anger into fierceness. Anger, Malcolm X says anger's a gift. And I'm going to add, if you can turn it into passion to do something for the greater good of your community or mankind. But it turns into fierceness. Fierceness that nothing's going to stop me from doing what I want. It's unfortunate that fierceness in this case could possibly mean negative consequences for people and the person observing or exerting the fierceness, which means, or the right to use force. Well, I'm bigger than you, buddy, so you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to use my toughness and my size to get what I want because you're just a little girl. You may be a boy, you may be 35, but you're just a little boy trapped in a man's body, and you're weak. I'm stronger than you. So you be scared of me and make sure that I get what I want. It's happened. And shame into humility. I do not like feeling ashamed. It is so humiliating on a personal level because I'm not even sure if at the times I feel ashamed, I should let those people let me feel ashamed. I think I'm doing it to punish myself, which refers back to something else I said earlier. Dignity into integrity, and shame into humility, dignity, integrity, autonomy, and or conscience. In addition, it seems that disgust transmutes into disconcernment. if the same thing happens over and over and over in my life and I start to get disgusted with it, I'm just going to be disconcerted about everything. I'm going to be like, well, I don't know what to do anymore. So I'm just going to give up. I can't concern myself with this issue anymore. So I'm just not going to do it. After I make these videos, I'm done talking about imaginal psychology because I just, there's no point to, unless I'm asked questions. A capacity is a distinct dimension of human development and human evolution that delineates a specific potential for responding to a domain of life experience. And since there are seven sins in life, I'll meditate at least 6 times. I won't do them all 7 times, but I can meditate. I feel I can meditate 6 times a day and still have one left over to get to sleep. A capacity is a distinct dimension of human development and human evolution that delineates a specific potential for responding to a domain of life experience. Compassion responds to suffering. Courage responds to danger. Destinity responds to the future. Dignity responds to failure. Fierceness responds to injustice. Faith responds to uncertainty. Reflexivity responds to personal identity, and so on. Another older term for the capacities is human virtues. What would I do in a situation like this? How do I relate? I know this situation happened. This is an example. I know this type of situations happened numerous times. I find an attractive girl. I try to date her and show her the stuff that I'm about. I end up getting blocked or ignored because you're just weird and not making sense. What do you want me to talk about? You want me to talk about what makes me mad? You want me to talk about other people? I know you want me to talk about other people and other situations and other conversations I've had with these other people and other shared memories I've had with all those situations, but I don't remember. Sorry. I can only talk off the top of my head in most situations. I'm actually proud of myself once in a while when I gossip. To transmute means to take the psychic energy provided by the affect and imaginatively channel it into creative expression in a way that meets the requirements of the present moment. Last night, I was laying on my left side, and I wanted to draw a picture. I wanted to draw a picture of the left side of my body being a patch of strawberries with having colored rainbow in it, or quicksand, whatever, just yellow. We'll just say yellow, rainbow. So I wanted the left side of my body, draw a line down my body. I'm laying down on my left side with my eyes closed. The left side of my body was a strawberry field, but my mouth and nose, well, I was breathing through my nose. So my nose, my left nostril had a rainbow in it. And then I wanted to draw a bear, or a talking mushroom is really what I wanted to draw, on the right side of my body with my heart, or a strawberry, in my right side of my nose. So like you've got strawberry patch. For purposes of perfection, this is what it should have looked like. And maybe I will draw it tonight. Strawberry patch on the left side of my body, and a yellow mushroom in my left nostril, and then a talking mushroom on the right side of my body, and a strawberry in my nostril, my right nostril. That's what I wanted to draw. That was an altered state of consciousness that I got just because I closed my eyes and was trying to sleep. And I think a lot about spirituality and meditation and spiritual energies because I practiced it for 18 years. So that was my creative expression in a way that met the requirements of that present moment. It could have been something as writing a poem. I've done that. Or writing a song. Or you got people that make movies. But why would you want to create an expression of a scary, violent, vulgar movie? And in what way did that meet the requirements of the present moment? I really want an answer on that. So if anybody watches this and you've done that and you can give me an answer to that question, please email me from this website and tell me how that works. And what positive stuff came out of it besides you getting paid lots of money. And who you helped psychologically from making that movie. Omer calls this reflexive participation, which he defines as the practice of surrendering through creative action to the necessities, meanings, and possibilities inherent in the present moment. The devil lives in America. He is in a lot of people in America, and they don't even know it because they think they're doing the correct thing. But you can't live secularized from the seat of your soul and only worry about money, sex, and drugs. That's not life. That's not soulful, purposeful living. That is soullessness. Reflexivity or self-awareness is central to the transmuting of affects, the cultivation of capacities, and the process of individuation. If you're transmuting vulgar ideas through the media, you're cultivating the capacities of others' mentalities and consciousness and behavior and reactions to have the same capacities to process the individuality of that type of vulgarity. And then we get into all these overindulging of things. But they don't know they're doing it because nobody knows that they have a seat in their soul. There's a chair where your soul sits behind you. It's a big yellow orb. But we don't know that. Everybody in America acts like Helen Keller. Not everybody, most people. Most people a greater amount of people in America act like Helen Keller. And somehow they function because the money they have creates the sex and drugs that they want. Therefore, they go on their way. And it works. But it doesn't work. We need to sit in the seat of America's soul to join the other countries so we all sit in the seat of the soul. We're not joining them. America has not joined other countries in this aspect of sit down, meet your soul. Not going to hurt you. Omer defines reflexivity as the capacity to engage and be aware of the psychological structures that shape and constitute our experience, And he calls reflexivity the transmuting agent. The vulgarity is what shapes and constitutes our experiences on our relationships in America. In what areas, in what arenas are the affects transmuted and the capacities cultivated? Communal contexts that engage and cultivate transformative practices become sites for the development of human capacities. Contexts that both evoke strong affective experiences and provide practices for working with intense subjective states, especially support capacity building. The positive ones help the positivity grow, but there's more negativity out there growing. So the thoughts that branch from this blanket of our soul that's connected to everything on this planet, the branches are too much and we can't see. We need to cut the branches down. We need to change what we put out there in the media. We go back to what I said in the beginning. Hence, the practice of attending to soul through attending to images, imagination, experience, and effective life is the heartbeat of imaginal psychology, is the strawberry heartbeat of imaginal psychology. We are not practicing giving, we're not attending to positive images, positive imagination, positive experience, and positive effective life in America and on the media, maybe some other places. Our soul does not like seeing negative things happen. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. It cycles down and deteriorates into something negative somewhere along some line, somebody's life. Rituals have historically provided a container for the expression and transmutation of effects. Think about China and their dragon stuff. All their rituals with their dragons, they contain the negative media energy into that. And they know this because they still sit at the seat of their soul. They understand that we need to see and deal with negative things in order to make positive decisions, because without bad, there would not be good. But if we can't explain why the Chinese have rituals to take care of the negative, to contain it, so that America can do the same, we are doomed to go through a sixth mass extinction, one way or another. For example, rituals of mourning assist with the expression of transmutation of grief. Rituals of transmutation of fear. Transmutation. Taking one thing that happens and it turns into something different. And we need to be able to contain that so it doesn't transmutate into something bad. It may transmutate into something bad for a while, but if we can contain it in a spiritual manner with rituals, we can trap that before the devil gets out the bottle. Rituals of intimacy assist with the expression and transmutation of fear. Rituals of mourning assist with the expression and transmutation of grief. Rituals of intimacy assist with the expression and transmission of fear. So they use fear with intimacy to bottle that. Rituals of conflict assist with the expression and transmutation of anger. And rituals of accountability assist with the expression of transmutation of shame. One more time. This is how we can somehow create these rituals for us in America. Somehow, seems like a big thing to ask, but I think it's necessary. For example, rituals of mourning assist with the expression and transmutation of grief. Rituals of intimacy assist with the expression and transmutation of fear. Rituals of conflict assist with the expression and transmutation of anger. And rituals of accountability assist with the expression and transmutation of shame. Transformative practices such as role playing and imaginal dialogue offer a means for working on identity and developing reflexivity. For Omar, it is the emergence of human capacities in a unique and connected way which defines individuation. There are an undefined layer of rituals that all Americans practice to deal with the same types of things on a spiritual level behind closed doors that we have not all discussed about. We could make this a thing. We could conduct a survey using these ritual examples that I said and get people to answer what they do, and then have ceremonies with our circle of people that we are involved with, friends, loved ones, families, and practice these things. We could create ceremonial holidays like other countries have by conducting surveys of what kind of things do you focus on? What do you think of when this happens? What don't you like to think of when this happens? Do you think of panda bears a lot? Do you think of rabbits a lot? You know, what happens in your mind when these situations arise on the images that your soul is projecting to you? And let's not be afraid to express to the world what type of rituals we've been practicing in secret for hundreds of years. Practices and tend to emerge concurrently. One who develops an abundance of these capacities develops an empowering develops the capacities are cultivated through transformative practices. Tend to emerge concurrently. One who develops an abundance of these capacities becomes an empowered person. For Omer, authentic power or soul power or the power of being refers to the spectrum of human capacities and qualities that are responsive to various domains of life experience in ways that engender truth, beauty, and justice. Authentic power emerges through enduring and transmuting the vulnerabilities we experience when we turn towards the sensitivities that embody the soul's passionate nature. One who develops an accumulation of capacities based on the transmutation of the negative effects becomes capable of bringing cultural leadership. We most clearly recognize the development of these human capacities as outstanding leaders throughout history, including those of the last century, such as Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Harvey Milk, and more immediately, Barack Obama. That is the end of this video. We will continue sometime when I'm relaxed about dreams in the economy of the soul. But I want to speak about what my beliefs are. I believe, well, I know the Chinese, because of their language, have dragon ceremonies. I believe America's rituals that are privatized, that nobody knows about, or the country doesn't know about our own rituals on a global level or on a universal level in this country because we don't talk about them. But I think the rituals that we all have in common are represented by bears and rabbits and forests and the Garden of Eden. So I'm pretty sure we all have a lot of those things in common. Bears, rabbits, we're just going to say fruit. Bears, rabbits, fruit, and forest. I bet those four things, a lot of rituals are individually being practiced either painfully or willingly in America to help deal with situations in their life that they can't figure out. Does a bear poop in the woods and wipe his butt with a fluffy white rabbit? If he does, an alligator will probably eat the bear and the rabbit. And an alligator is a dinosaur, so is a turtle. All reptiles are dinosaurs. And we all have strawberry hearts. And we all can't see our ears and eyes. And we all can sit at the seat of our soul. And we all can take a drink of water and try to blow it out our nose. Those are the things that I think we need to focus on in order to somehow create a centralized seat for America's soul. But me asking you to change this on the country is probably not going to work. And that's why this planet will probably go through a sixth mass extinction, because everybody else on the planet has rituals and ways of informally communicating with people. But here in America, we have no rules. We have no cultural, ritualized rules on how to deal with life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share. I will I will do my next video probably tomorrow or later tonight. But I'm hungry, tired, and my feet hurt. Thank you for watching.